want to be shooting two movies here. With The Christmas Chronicles 2 premiering on Netflix this week, since it stars, not only it stars Kurt Russell, but it also teams Kurt Russell with his real-life wife, Goldie Hawn, who has been in the entertainment business for years. I mean, she was always like the it girl back in like the 70s, 80s. She's been in some really iconic films over the years. And of course, she is the mother of Kate Hudson, so there's that too. So with that being said, here's my top 10 favorite Goldie Hawn movies. Coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with the 1978 film Foul Play. Now, this was actually Goldie Hawn's, one of her big budget studio ventures in this film. And it has a bit of like a Hitchcockian story to it. Like here, you got Hawn, who portrays this librarian named Gloria Mundy, who leads a eventful life here, and she ends up looking to shake things up. She even somehow winds up in the middle of a assassination plot against the Pope here, and so Monday ends up meeting this hapless detective named Tony Carson, portrayed wonderfully by Chevy Chase. Who does not love Chevy Chase? Who ends up taking on the case, but when they both end up falling in love, the assassin she ends up pretty much hiring, played by Mark Lawrence, is still after Monday and anyone, and he's pretty much after anyone that gets in his way to keep. And I gotta say, Foul Play is really cool. It's a really decent dog-based comedy. Chevy Chase, Goldie Hawn, two iconic figures of the 70s. Of course, Chevy Chase, had pretty much big with when it came to SNL back in the days. And yeah, this movie is a really good one. Goldie Hawn is great. I mean, if you guys have not really seen Foul Play, give it a shot. It's a really good one. Number 9, it's gonna be unpopular, but I quite like this movie more than most people have. And that is the 2017 film Snatch. Now, this was a bit of an interesting comeback for Goldie Hawn, because before this film, she has not really done film since 2002. And Snatch, you got Amy Schumer, who plays this woman who ends up getting dumped on her boyfriend on the eve of their vacation. And so Amy Schumer's character, Emily, pretty much persuades her mother, Linda, portrayed by Goldie Hawn, to accompany her on a exotic getaway to South America. And they must work to their differences to escape these people who end up kidnapping them and all. Snatch was also directed by Jonathan Levine, who also gave us films like 50-50, The Night Before. Snatch did not really get well received. It only got a 33% Rotten Tomatoes. But Snatch was pretty cool. I mean, I really like the mother and daughter dynamic chemistry between Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn. I remember watching this movie in theaters back in when it got released. It's much better than people give him credit for. But obviously, people mostly hate it because it's Amy Schumer. Lots of people are not fond of Amy Schumer for some reason, but I think she's actually pretty funny. But that's just me. Number 8, I'm gonna go with the film Death Becomes Her. Now, Goldie Hawn, tackles one of her most unique roles ever as a vengeful writer named Ellen Sharp, whose husband, portrayed by Bruce Willis, becomes fixated with actress Madeline Asher, portrayed by Meryl Streep, and he pretty much vows to marry her. So after a stay in with a psychiatric hospital, Ellen vows revenge against Madeline and comes upon a potion that produces eternal life and a ever youthful appearance. And That Becomes Her was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who also gave us movies like Forrest Gump, Back to the Future. That Becomes Her is a pretty decent film, a decent dark-based comedy. Bruce Willis, Meryl Streep were both great. Goldie Hawn was terrific in this. I mean, Goldie Hawn played the weirdest, pretty well, but she did a really decent job here. Bruce Willis shows that he could do more than just straight up action. He could do he could do pretty well with these type of films like That Becomes Her. I mean, if you guys have not really seen That Becomes Her yet, I'd say give it a watch. I think you'll enjoy it. Number 7, I'm gonna go with the Banger Sisters. Like I said, before she did the movie Snatch in 2017, this was actually her last major feature. And the Banger Sisters, got released way back in 2002, and it's about these self-proclaimed bellies of rock and roll named Barb, portrayed by Goldie Hawn, and pretty much these are pretty much like in the late 1960s, the self-proclaimed bellies of these rock and roll bar, named Goldie Hawn, played by Goldie Hawn, as well as this other rocker named played by Susan Sarandon, rocked the world with every music legend whose parents they could take off and all that. And so they end up having the picture to prove it, but it's also and so they pretty much play like like rock star sisters here, and they end up having a reunion here, where their reunion is a collision of the two women's world, and one who's living in the past, while the other one is hiding from from her past. And together they try to learn to live to the moment in this one. Now, Susan Sarandon and Goldie Hawn both had really solid chemistry for one another. You can really buy them as sisters perfectly. There's even some really cool moments where they actually sing in this, which is pretty cool. You can also really buy them as aging rock stars too. I mean, I thought they were both really solid in this one. If you guys have not really seen the Banger Sisters, it's another good one we're checking out. Alright, coming in at number 6, I'm going to go with Best Friends. Now, this is about the screenwriter team named Richard Babson, portrayed by the late Burt Reynolds, and Paul McLaughlin, portrayed by Goldie Hawn, who have built a successful Hollywood career while managing to live harmoniously together. And so, after finishing their latest script, Babson, uses the forum to convince McLaughlin to take the elite into their marriage. But when they end up traveling back to each to meet their respective in-laws, the marriage begins to surface and unprepared, and they try to struggle to change dynamics. You also had the always great Jessica Tandy was in this. Burt Reynolds and Goldie Hawn were both terrific in this film. They really had decent chemistry with one another. Goldie Hawn does pretty well when it comes to working with folks. Like, she has really solid chemistry when she's teaming up with someone. And Burt Reynolds and Goldie Hawn were both really amazing in this one. The film, of course, got released in 1982 and was directed by Norman Jewison, who I thought did a pretty good job with the directing in this. I mean, Burt Reynolds, of course, was pretty much the hot drop of the 70s and 80s, and here he really showed it once again. I mean, if you guys have not really seen Best Friends, it's a really decent one. Alright, coming in at number 5, I'm going to go with The First Wives Club. Now, this film, of course, got released all the way back in the 90s, in 1996, and was directed by Hugh Wilson. And here you got Bette Midler and Diane Keaton, who portrays a female trio who are determined to get their revenge against their ex-husband, who dumped them to marry a younger woman. And the husband, by the way, portrayed by Victor Garber, who's always pretty cool to watch on screen. And so you've got Goldie Hawn, who portrays the character of this other plum role of Elise Elliott Ashton, who is a former Oscar winner, who is now in hot mess and must face her hunting husband, who wants alimony and half of Elise's estate. And so they of course take revenge on their cheating, no good husband. You also had Maggie Smith, Sarah Jessica Parker. This was way before the Me Too era. I mean, they actually do got a reboot of the First Wives Clubs. That's that's on BET Plus, which I have not really seen. I'm not really too interested in that one. But I gotta say, the film was really decent. The three leads, Bette Midler, Diane Keaton, and Goldie Hawn all had really solid, like they really played off each other well. They all had solid chemistry with one another. I mean, the stuff that they end up doing in this is really fun to watch. I mean, if you guys have not really seen the first Wives Club, give it a shot. I mean, this is definitely a film that is right for today's world, especially with like everything going on between the Me Too movement and Time's Up and stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys have not really seen the first Wives Club, definitely worth checking out. All right, coming in at number 4, I'm gonna go with the 1980s film Private Benjamin. Now here you got Goldie Hawn, who plays this Jewish American princess who is devastated when her husband, portrayed by Albert Brooks, drops dead on their wedding night, and she ends up pretty much enlisting in the army, and she ends up grieving a duplicitous recruit for the Women's Army Corps, who ends up convincing her to enlist, and she pretty much thinks like her enlistment is like a vacation, but this captain named Captain Lewis, portrayed by Eileen Brennan, quickly like dashes her hopes of an easy time where Dewey, as like Dewey goes to basic training. I mean, this is pretty much, I guess you could say it's like a female version of Stripes in a way, remember the Bill Murray film? But Private Benjamin is it's pretty decent. I mean, it has a bit of a Full Metal Jacket and Stripes feel to it. I mean, Elaine Brenner is a bit like a female version of Ollie Ermey's character from Full Metal Jacket. Not really saying they're too much alike, but yeah. That's right. Private Benjamin is not really a film that gets talked about a whole lot. I mean, the film got released in, what did it get released in? It got released in 1980, and it was of course directed by Howard Schiff, who did a pretty decent job of directing. Goldie Hawn was pretty funny in this. This training so that she has to go through this was pretty cool. You don't really see many army-based females with women leads, so it was pretty cool to see a film like Private Benjamin and all. So if you guys have not really seen Private Benjamin, give that one shot. Alright, number 3, I'm going to go with the film Shampoo, directed by the always great Al Ashby, and it takes place against the backdrop of Nixon's election to office. And you got this Beverly hairdresser and notorious rake named George Roundy, portrayed by Warren Beatty, who here runs into trouble when his habits begin to clash with his responsible business ambition. And here Goldie Hawn portrays Jill, the current girlfriend of George, who's like I said is a Beverly hairdresser who is becoming, and of course Warren Beatty's character is becoming like more of the man as he services women who are seeking more than just sad fashion. And Hawn I thought was pretty decent in this. Hawn even scored a Golden Globe nomination. You even got some interesting casts. You got Julie Christie, Lee Grant, Jack Warden. You even got very young Carrie Fisher, like about before she even became Princess Leia, believe it or not. Shampoo is it's an Al Ashby directed movie. He's directed some really solid movies, whether it's Hair in the Mall, Hair, Shampoo. Wait, he directed a movie called Hair and a film called Shampoo. Surprised he did not do Hairspray. Anywho, Al Ashby has always been a pretty solid filmmaker, and yeah, Shampoo is definitely one of his best works. I mean, if you guys have not really seen Shampoo, definitely give that one a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. Although the character of George is a bit despicable, but Warren Beatty plays it pretty well. Alright, number 2, I'm going to go with the film Wildcats. Now this stars Goldie Hawn as Molly McGrath, who is following her dreams when she quits her crushy girls track coaching position at Prescott High to become the boys football coach in the inner city Center High. And even though she is also faced with both racial and gender prejudice, she pretty much whips the team into shape. And Wildcats is a pretty decent football-based comedy. Not to mention, Molly is also dealing with with her ex husband, Frank Needham, portrayed by James Keach. You even got a young Wesley Snipes is in this. You got Woody Harrelson both in this. About like a couple years before they did White Man Can't Jump together. Now, whoever could buy Goldie Hawn as a coach, I mean, she really played a coach really well. I mean, she goes from doing a character where she's in the army to playing a coach. Goldie Hawn had a really cool career back in the days. And Wildcats, of course, got released in 1986, directed by Mike Ritchie, who did a pretty good job at directing this. It's a really decent, funny flick. Goldie Hawn, her scenes with the teammates is pretty cool to watch. I mean, if you guys have not really seen Wildcats, it's pretty decent. Alright, my number one favorite Goldie Hawn movie is going to Gary Marshall's classic, Overboard. Now this, of course stars both Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. And anywho. Sorry for that. Anyway, and so you got the snobbish and wealthy Joanna Slayton, played by Hawn, who is living a life of luxury when her husband, named Grant, portrayed by Howard Herman, and when, of course, she ends up falling off a yacht and suffers amnesia, Grant ends up taking this opportunity to rid himself of Joanna. But when Kurt Russell's character, Dean, who is a widowed carpenter with 4 kids, who once worked for Joanna, arrives and claims that she is his wife. Joanna can't really remember, and they end up, of course, she pretty much ends up split with him because she thinks that he is, his wife. I mean, of course, we did have an Overboard remake with Anna Faris and Eugenio Derbez, which I thought the Overboard remake was not as bad as I thought it would have been. Now, of course, this is directed by the late, great Gary Marshall, who did a pretty decent job with this film. It's really funny, it's cute, charming. Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, obviously they were married in real life, so they have some really solid chemistry together. It's a really decent romantic comedy. The film also got released all the way back in 1987, and Gary Marshall, of course, he is pretty much iconic in this entertainment business, and I thought he did a really good job with Overboard. I mean, if you guys have not really seen Overboard yet, definitely give it a shot. It's a romantic classic. Alright, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10 foul play, 9 snatch, 8 death becomes her, 7 the Banger Sisters, 6 best friends, 5 the First Wives Club, 4 Private Benjamin, 3 Shampoo, 2 Wildcats, and number 1 is Overboard. Now there's also other films I probably could have added. Let me pull up my credit list. Butterflies Are Free. Let's see. That's a pretty good one. Swing Shift, Protocar, Bird on a Wire. I believe Mel Gibson was in that. House Sitter, Crisscross, Everyone Says I Love You, which is the Woody Allen film. Town and Country. It's nice to see her make a comeback with Christmas Chronicles too. Of course, she was in the first Christmas Chronicles. Let's see. Deceived. She's been some really interesting stuff over the years. But let me leave with you guys. What are some of your favorite Goldie Hawn movies? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is Movies. Sign off.